Hey folks, this is Kalani. So, you just hit level 120, eh? You're looking for some of that sweet gear? I know what you're thinking, how did I know? Well, lucky for you, we're going to go through a step-by-step process for gearing a fresh level 120 character and getting it all up to speed and ready for any adventures that might head your way. If you just dinged 120, your gear probably looks something like this. You might have a higher item level if you quested a lot, or it might be lower if you got boosted for the most part, or you don't have heirlooms carrying your item level. This item level just won't do. We want to be north of item level 400 at the very least. Thankfully, you can snatch up some gear incredibly quickly. The first thing I would recommend you do is head on over to the auction house. Almost every slot can be filled by buying a crafted piece of gear. You can get wrists, hands, belts, legs, boots, trinkets and offhands at item level 400 just from the auction house alone. Rings can be found at a lower item level so they aren't quite as important, and weapons can be found at 370 item level, but we're going to get one of those for free, so that's not too important either. You can't purchase helms, shoulders, neck pieces, or chests, and I personally don't think a cloak is going to be worth it because we'll get that later as well. For the rest of the slots, feel free to buy as many pieces of gear as you want, preferably item level 400 crafted stuff. That's the cheapest and most cost effective, and I know you probably don't have too much gold lying around as a fresh 120, but every little helps at this point. This is always my first stop on a new 120 character, simply because you're going to have to kill stuff, and killing stuff with a higher item level is going to be faster, easier and less stressful, so I fork over some dough on the auction house to cut a few corners. There is another option right now if you have one or two other max level characters. Rare monsters in the patch 8.3 Old God Assaults have a chance to drop Black Empire gear tokens. If you have some of these floating around on other characters, toss them over to your new 120 character to get some free item level 410 gear or 415 Azerite gear. Obviously, if you don't have these tokens, you can't use them, so just skip over this part if you don't have a max level already. Another relatively cheap type of BoA token that you can still get your hands on is the Benthic gear. This is only going to apply if you actually played for a little bit in patch 8.2 and you have some spare mana pearls, but you can still pop over to that vendor, pick up as many tokens as you want for 5 mana pearls each, and throw those across your alts as well. That's going to give you 385 item level. Not quite as good as that Black Empire catch-up gear as you might expect because it's from a patch before it, and it's not even as good as the crafted gear, but you don't have to fork over gold. So this is a nice cheap option to fill in a few slots if you have the spare mana pearls. The next thing you'll want to do isn't necessarily related to gearing directly, but it will give you a huge item level bump nonetheless. You need to unlock essences. I know, everyone is probably telling you the same thing, but it is incredibly important for two reasons. The first is that you'll skip all the way to a heart level of 50. Not only does that allow you to actually use your Azerite gear traits, but your amulet's item level is tied directly to your artifact level. So the huge skip to 50 also means a massive item level bump to stop your low level amulet dragging down your overall item level. We just can't have that. The second reason you need essences is because they're quite simply powerful. If you want to play this character at endgame, in any form of endgame, dungeons, raids, PvP, whatever it may be, you will need essences. End of story. To unlock essences, you'll need to start the Nazjatar questline. That can be done on your faction boat. The quest you need is War Chief's Order for the Horde and the Wolf's Offensive for the Alliance. These should become available to you right after you unlock world quests on your character. That one is Uniting Zandalar or Uniting Kulturas. If you can't see these quests pop up after you've handed in the World Quest, just relog. It should pop up right after that. Work your way through Nazjatar until Magni pops up, and then you can run off with Magni until you unlock the Heart Forge. Just keep going through the quests. You will know when you unlock essences. Trust me. Pretty early on in your Nazjatar intro, you'll also be given a 370 weapon, so that's one more slot covered and one you don't have to buy from the auction house. Towards the end, just before you meet Magni, you'll be given a piece of 385 Azerite gear as well for helm, shoulder or chest, your choice. Another slot covered with a decent upgrade. And then, if you head back down to Nazjatar after you unlock essences and complete the quest back out to sea, you'll learn about the Benthic gear and be given a free piece of 385 gear, and in enough mana pearls to upgrade it to an item level 400 piece. Another slot covered, which is nice because sometimes you can't afford everything on the auction house, or it's just too expensive to really be worth it. So not only do you get essences from this questline, but you can get up to 3 pieces of useful gear as well. We're not quite finished with the systems catch-up though. There's one more big fish to fry, the legendary cloak. After you unlock essences, return to your capital, you should have a quest to talk to Valera. This is the start of patch 8.3's legendary cloak quest. You'll be taken to Uldum, you'll learn about assaults, and you'll have to work through a few scenarios, and about an hour or 2 later, depending on how long it takes you to finish everything, you'll get your legendary cloak. Remember that if you've done this before, you can skip the first 2 scenarios, just talk to Magni again. This might seem like a huge grind all for nothing, but the legendary cloak is key for gearing up your character. It's going to occupy a slot with the most powerful piece of gear you can obtain, which also comes with that super shiny awesome item level that's going to carry your overall item level quite nicely. The cloak is also upgradable, and for the most part, that's fairly simple to do, just run horrific visions. The first few upgrades only need the vision boss, so you don't have to worry about completing bonus objectives for a little while. The higher item level will help you get into other types of content, and you won't have to worry about replacing your cloak until Shadowlands comes around. You should also get a piece of 440 gear for your wrist slot for working through the assaults in the questline, which should be a huge upgrade for your fresh 120. That's it for the systems catch-up, I promise. From here on out, it's pure item level hunting gearing goodness. The next step on our journey is World Quest. The most important World Quest is probably the World Boss. This will either be in Uldum or the Vale of Eternal Blossoms, and the World Bosses have a chance to drop 445 gear. It's easy, it's fast, and it's basically just a piece of gear you won't have to worry about later. You will need a little bit of luck on your side though, so keep your fingers crossed and you might get away with an item. After that, take a look at your map of BfA areas, and if you're not using an add-on that lists your World Quest rewards, go install one of those. I recommend World Quests List, and then look at your map again. There, that's better, isn't it? A nice long list of all the gear rewards on every BfA World Quest. This is incredibly useful because you're going to have that one pesky slot that just refuses to get replaced for a little while, and you never know when a world quest might pop up with the perfect item. So go through the list, compare it to what you have equipped, and go collect any upgrades. For my list here, we can see there's a couple of rings. I still have my 3 10s from the auction house, so they are massive upgrades. There's some Azurite gear, which I could probably use if I get lucky, so I'll pick those up as well and hope for the headpiece. And there's a ring or trinket at item level 420. No matter what that rolls, it's going to be a huge upgrade as well. You also want to keep an eye out for gear rewards from emissary quests. Those can be huge upgrades for almost any slot, so keep your eyes peeled. No gear rewards today sadly, but I'll check back tomorrow and the next day and pretty much every day until I don't need that item level anymore. After doing everything I've mentioned in this video, and not really anything extra, I'm sitting pretty at 420 item level. You should check world quests every day until you can't benefit from them at all because it's easy gear. And it's guaranteed. You don't have to roll against anyone. You don't have to hope you get gear like you do from dungeons. If you do the world quest, you'll get the loot. That means it's always worth going for a gear upgrade from world quests because, well, you're always going to get it. At this point, you're more or less ready to join the good old gear treadmill of endgame. My personal recommendation for fast gearing up is dungeons. At this point, I can comfortably run mythic dungeons without any issues, and you can get 430 item level pieces, including Azurite gear from standard mythic dungeons. That can help fill in a lot of those pesky, hard to find spots. There are a lot of geared folks running around doing mythic dungeons too, for mounts, transmog, and various other little goodies, so that could speed up these runs significantly. You can pop into raids, keep doing your horrific visions to upgrade your cloak and get the loot, be sure to look into PvP if that's your thing, run some mythic plus dungeons, whatever you fancy, but your character should be decently caught up at this point to go out and do whatever you have in mind. If that's raids, dungeons, mount collecting, pet collecting, or just standing around admiring everyone's mounts as they AFK, you do you. Alright, time to go do all this again on my Warlock. But I hope that helped at least some of you get some fresh 120 characters up to speed, whether you're playing alts, returning to the game, or getting your WoW on for the very first time. Have you leveled up any new characters to 120 recently with the experience bonus buff? Do you have any tips or tricks to add to this list to help players get their item level up toot sweet? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. If you want to explore the alpha, or watch us run through the Ny'alotha raid blindfolded, you can find us over at twitch.tv/KalaniTV. We stream every Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday and Saturday at 12 PM PST, and watching the stream and coming to say hi is one of the best ways you can support this channel right now, and if you ever wanted to be included in the list of names at the end of every video, a subscription on Twitch is the easiest way to make that happen. You get a free sub to any Twitch channel if you have Amazon Prime too, so be sure to take advantage of that. A big thank you to everyone who has subscribed on Twitch already, and to our supporters over on Patreon. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you want to join these lovely guys and gals, well, now you know how. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.